reading today is from Matthew 5:43 through 48, and pages 1144 to 1145 in your pew Bibles. Love. You have heard people say, love your neighbors and hate your enemies. But I tell you to love your enemies and pray for anyone who mistreats you. Then you will be acting like your Father in heaven. He makes the sun rise on both good and bad people. And he sends rain for the ones who do right and for the ones who do wrong. If you love only those people who love you, will God reward you for that? Even tax collectors love their friends. If you greet only your friends, what's so great about that? Don't even unbelievers do that? But you must always act like your Father. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Amen.
Nice job.
Unconditional love is really tough. And sometimes I think you have to be God to really know how to love someone unconditionally. Probably the person that had the greatest influence in my life that I can think of is Dr. John Fry. And I don't know if he's still practicing as a psychologist or not. He was a graduate of Fuller Seminary and got his PhD there in psychology. And the district of Anaheim, the Anaheim Union High School District, hired him as a consultant. And what he did is he worked with my program. I worked with the severely emotionally disturbed young people. And just let me tell you, it wasn't easy. I have been called everything. I'm stupid, I'm ugly, and I can use a lot of four-letter words that would describe how bad I am, but they called me everything. And Dr. Fry was very, very instrumental in teaching me to let people own their own behavior. And that is a very difficult thing to do, because usually when someone says something ugly about us, or treats us badly, we take it personally. As if we are so special that they only do it to me, they don't do it to anybody else. Of course they do, because that's who they are. And what he really taught me was how to let people be responsible for their own behavior. And then you don't see them as enemies, you see them as poor, sick individuals who aren't really very happy. And they'll lie. Can you think of people they've lost jobs, they've lost their income, they've lost even their family because of what somebody else has said in gossip, and then they believed it. One thing I have also learned is that the people who really know how to love even their enemies and pray for them are people who have not had it easy. I mean, it's really easy to say, oh, go just love everybody. We just think everyone's just wonderful. And you've not really suffered from, you might say, the evil intentions of other people. Dr. Fry married when he was fairly young. And his first wife took off, joined a cult, and left him. And then she said that he was no good, he was an enemy of God, and so that was very hurtful. He was very happy when he met his second wife. Everything seemed to be going fine. And then at some point, she took off, which drained the bank account before she took off. And I don't know, as long as I knew him, they hadn't found her. She had a lot of cash, and he had to declare bankruptcy that year. Now, this is not a person you could say had an easy life and that he didn't have anyone that really had tried to do him in. He did. But he still didn't have hate in his heart for these people who had done, I would say, really grievous acts against him. I really respect him for being able to be that way. And how could he be that way? He was a person of great faith. When he read Matthew I think it's, what is it, 38 to 43? Is it 43? No, 43 to 48. He took it seriously. He worked on it. It isn't easy to love people that are mean to you, is it? Yeah. They can really make your life pretty bad. But he never, ever, when I knew him, ever hated anybody. He honestly could say, I forgive you for being who you are. And he did pray for his enemies. He seriously did. I know it comes as a shock to people to think that anyone would do that. But that's what Jesus asks us to do. And I know it's difficult. I had a friend who had a real difficult time of dealing with people who were obnoxious. And so, just as a joke, I said to him, well, if you want to experience unconditional love, why don't you get a dog? So he did. Oh, Freddie. Freddie was this little mutt that he found at the pound. Sweetest little guy. Oh, he was so adorable, little Freddie. And this friend of mine was kind of in a bad mood a lot. And would kind of come home and be grouchy and not pay too much attention to Freddie. And Freddie would be just right up there loving him, just licking him all over the place. How could you not resist that? When you feel so bad and so rotten, and you've had such a bad day, and someone just comes up to you and just treats you like you're the most wonderful person on this entire planet. Doesn't that make you feel good?
Yeah.
I think maybe dogs can teach us what it's like to love the way God does. They don't care if you're old. They don't care if you're really young. If you step on its foot, it's like, it hurts, but they don't hate you for it. You know, they don't care if you're fat, they don't care if you're thin, they don't care if you're in really great shape or you're just hobbling along. It doesn't matter to a dog, does it? They just love you. And that's more of what we need to do with each other. I had a little guy in my class a number of years ago who hated his father. When he was 2 years old, his father really, this is true, tried to drown him in the bathtub. Now that's horrible, right? Did you agree? And he just hated his father. And so he told Dr. Fry about this thing that happened. And, oh, I hate that man. I wish he were dead. And Dr. Fry said, how old were you when this happened? And he said, well, I was 2. And he said, how old are you now? He said, 12. That was 10 years ago. Now what are you going to do with yourself? Your father obviously was a very unhappy person. Well, I don't care, he almost killed me. Yes, he did. He agreed with him. Yes, he did. But now, 10 years later, what are you going to do with yourself? And he was just like a broken record. It's Dr. Fry. He would just let people know that they needed to own their behavior, let other people own theirs. And it really would work that way. I know it's difficult when you have people that have treated you so mean and have maybe caused your life to change forever because of what they've said or done. But I can guarantee you, if you could be more like Jesus and try, and I know it's hard, but to try to learn how to forgive people who have done things not very kind to you.
Bless you.
And to truly love your enemies, and these people have been your enemies because of what they've done, and pray for them. These are not happy people. Happy people do not do things to others to make them miserable. They don't. Have you ever known a happy person that really tried to do people in? Really? I can't think of anybody. If you can, let me know, because I don't know of any really happy person that does stuff like that. I'm not alone. I've had people say some really cruel things to me. A number of years ago, I had an aide that went to the director of special ed and said that I was coming down with Alzheimer's because I was forgetting to bring some some things in the morning, you know, I'd rush off and leave things at home. Obviously, she didn't know what Alzheimer's was, because it has nothing to do with forgetting things. It's not knowing what the function of something is. But they were questioning me about whether or not I had all my facilities still there. And it made my life very miserable. In fact, I even spent one summer taking an online class from Harvard on neurological functioning of special needs children. And I got an A in it, so obviously I could still read and remember. But people like that can even make you doubt yourself that there's something wrong with you. I've had people say that I don't know anything about technology, even though my class is taught more by YouTube than anything else, because I work with people that really respond to music. So we're not alone. No one is. I bet I can talk to each one of you individually, and you can tell me of some horrendous thing that somebody has done to you. You may have lost a job because of what someone has done or said. But Jesus says we need to forgive, to love, and to pray for our enemies. I know it's tough. No one ever said it was easy, did they? No one ever said it was easy. But I guarantee you that you'll be a much happier person if you let it go and not hold on to grudges and just let God be the one in charge.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen.